Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Lorefield podcast. It is October 2021, and I'm your co host, Mitch, alongside my other co host, Yzra.
Hello.
This month, we thought it'd be a good time to bring on a very special guest. You might know him from Reddit, Discord, Twitch, or maybe YouTube, where on the former, he has shared dozens of new bits of Starfield and BGS information, such as the company's switch to Autodesk Maya for its animation pipeline, as well as the revelation that Starfield's map and some promotional imagery portrays gravitational waves. Welcome to the show, Odah.
Hello, what's up?
I'm really happy to have you here. When we were kind of conceptualizing the show a few months ago and the topic of guests came up, you were the first person I thought of. So I think we're going to have a good time, and I'm really glad you can finally be here.
I feel really flattered, thanks.
So to get started, I wanted to, go back to the beginning a little bit, get an origin story of Oda, and
Sure.
just tell us about how you got into BGS, what your first game was, and what kind of led you to becoming, one of the most prominent and respected members of the Starfield community.
Oh, really? That's interesting. And one of the prominent. Okay, yeah. Um, well, my journey with BGS starts way back, like, okay, I have to say 18 years or something, like back when Morrowind came out. I mean, is it 18 years already? I don't remember. But I was like 10 or 11 years old when Morrowind came out, or maybe 9. But I didn't had it on release, so I've waited maybe 1 or 2 years. And I wasn't actually buying it on my own. Like I think it was in some store with my aunt, and she like saw this game, and she knew that I like to play games, and she thought it was really cool to buy me like this cool looking game. Like it has a really cool cover, and it was Morrowind. So my first game from BGS was Morrowind, and I had to play it on my aunt's PC because back then I didn't have a PC on my own. So every time I came to my aunt's place, I played Morrowind for hours and hours and hours, and I didn't want to leave anymore. Like I didn't understand all of the game's mechanics. Like I was too young, I guess, and you both played Morrowind probably on your own. It's quite it's not an easy game, and back then games weren't easy, and so I was this little kid trying to understand and comprehend the world of Morrowind, and yeah, I had a hard time, but it was just crazy the amount of things you could do, like go there, go do this, do that, pick up that stuff, equip this, equip that. It was like something that hasn't existed before, and this is like how I got into BGS, and I've bought every Bethesda Game Studios game since then, and even tried playing Arena and Daggerfall, which isn't really my kind of game, to be honest. But yeah, that's how I came in touch with Bethesda Game Studios games. And by the way, should I be not like should my English not be fine or something? I want to apologize because, as you may have guessed, or as you may know me already, I'm not a native speaker, but I'm trying my best.
Your English has been just fine, I thought. Um,
Thanks.
that's a really cool story, and I'm impressed that at you said 9 or 10, you were trying Morrowind, because that is not exactly an easy game to understand and wrap your head around. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a miracle that you latched on to BGS the way you have.
I mean, I wasn't a stupid kid, I had like there was like internet was pretty scarce around the times, so we didn't have internet at home, but in my town's library they had, I don't know why, but they had a cheating book like if you maybe remember from those days, the there were books, like they sold books with lots of cheat codes in it for every game, and there was also a book which included cheats for Morrowind, and there was like the obvious one, toggle god mode, TGM, and I used it a lot as a kid because, yeah, as you maybe guessed, the game is not easy to play, and I just used TGM all the time and I didn't know what to do.
Israel and I were babies in those days, so
Okay.
yeah, we didn't
Uh,
have the
yeah, I'm 27 right now, and yeah, my journey with Bethesda, I've come a long way, and I think Bethesda games really it's like how to say it in English. I grew up with Bethesda games, and they made me what I am today, I guess, because they had a huge impact on my childhood and my later life. So, for example, Oblivion, right? Oblivion came out in 2006, I believe, with the Xbox 360, and I I had to buy my Xbox 360 on my own, so I saved all my money, and I even sold my Game Boy SP back then, and with all the games, with all the Pokemon games, and I really was a huge fan of Pokemon. I would have never wanted to get rid of my Game Boy, but I sold all of that because I wanted to get Oblivion for the Xbox 360. So yeah, it was another childhood dream back then, and I remember when I was like must have been 13 or 14. Maybe I mix up the age, but I back then I talked about nothing other topics other than Oblivion. Every day I talked to everyone about Oblivion, and I read all the news, the game papers, the magazines, and yeah, that was also one of my um, coolest memories, getting that Xbox with Oblivion, and yeah, it was just amazing.
Someone whose first game from BGS was Skyrim. I was a Sky baby, unfortunately. Um,
That's cool. It's a cool game to start the journey.
it is, yeah, kind of easy to get into comparatively. Um, I was young enough that I played Fallout New Vegas and Skyrim without realizing that they were from the same company or that they were running from the same engine. I just didn't pay attention to that stuff. I didn't understand it. So when you got excited for Oblivion, did you know that it was the same people that made Morrowind?
Yeah, I knew that already because I was like back then I was like a teenager, I guess already, and I I've had like a bunch of magazines with Oblivion cover art and stuff like that. I think I still have some of them today, and they were like I was reading all of it, and I still didn't have any internet back at home, and we only got internet in 2007, I believe. We had it pretty late, and
Wow.
yeah, and so I had to read all of the news magazines, and I got all my information from Oblivion from the magazines. And I didn't see any trailers. I mean, I saw one trailer maybe, but I didn't see any gameplay demos or other trailers. I just got all my information from the magazines. And yeah, that was one of my fondest memories of Oblivion. And then actually getting the Xbox 360 with, I think it was bundled with how's it called? Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Double Agent, and there was a second game I believe in it, Just Cause, and I had Oblivion. Those three games. So I played only Oblivion the first month, and I didn't even touch Splinter Cell or Just Cause. I only wanted to play Oblivion, and it was such a blast to play it.
First of all, that is an amazing bundle.
Yeah,
Just Cause
yeah.
is one of my other favorite series. Yzra, remind me what your first BGS game was.
My first BGS game was Skyrim. I was
Okay.
a preteen, so I was
Perfect game.
everyone was talking about Skyrim when I started high school, and then I played it, and I was expecting more, and I think I kind of disappointed myself when I just realized vampires don't hang from the ceilings. They were describing vampire lords and werewolves, but they said, "Oh, you have this special gear that goes over top." So I just assumed it was gear that made you transform, but no, it's completely different to that.
There wasn't even, I think there wasn't even vampires. I mean, you could be a vampire, right? But there was no vampire lords or something at the launch of the game. It came all with the Dawn God DLC.
Yeah, it's like Oblivion, except you don't die when you go out in sunlight.
I don't think I knew you die when you go in sunlight as a vampire in Oblivion.
Oh yeah, it's really painful. You have to like spam health potions on a hotkey constantly, or you're
Yeah,
gonna die.
that's. And back then, I also didn't know how to cure vampirism in Oblivion. You had like get a quest and do something with your heart. I remember, but I didn't have internet back then. Like, one of my memories as well was the first time I had an internet connection on my Xbox, and I was able to download all the DLC for Oblivion. That's like this night. I was like a friend called me over, and he had internet already, and he told me, "Hey, we can download all the DLC for Oblivion." And then I purchased it. Like the mic back then, we had Microsoft points, and
Yeah.
I used them all for like all the DLC for Oblivion, and then we played the entire night. We played only all the fucking DLC. That was that was so awesome. It was really awesome, and also to this day I can say that Shivering Isles was one of the best, if not the best DLC they've ever made.
Gotta ask, did you get horse armor?
Of course I did, but I never used. I bought the DLC, but I never used it.
That sounds about right.
And
So,
one of my,
oh, go ahead.
I wanted to switch over to Skyrim, or actually to Fallout 3. Yeah, Fallout 3 obviously came out 3 years later. No, 2 years later in 2008. And we all knew it back then, all the fans from Oblivion, they knew, okay, this is gonna be the next Bethesda game, and we'll see how it feels. And you know, it really feels like one of your most favorite gaming moments back then, or still for some people nowadays. When you played the beginning of the game, and you are in the Vault 101, and then you will leave the vault for the first time, and you see the updated graphics and all the stuff you can do. It was an amazing moment. Like that's the moment where I fell in love with Fallout. I didn't know Fallout existed before. Like I didn't care about Fallout. I didn't know about Fallout. But when BGS made Fallout 3, and you exited the vault for the first time, this was like a major change. Like up until then, I was like, I want to play every fucking Fallout that's gonna come out in the future. It was just a crazy game back then, even crazier than Oblivion in some ways.
There is always that moment in every BGS game where you're
Yeah,
introduced to the world, and they make it so special every single time. And I can't wait to see what it looks like in Starfield, what it'll feel like, what the music will be like. But
yeah.
Fallout 3, I think, was their best one.
I remember Todd even said in an interview that they're still thinking of how to do that, like these moments with exiting the vault or similar stuff like exiting the sewers in Oblivion, but how they can do that and approach it in new ways. That's what he said, I believe, in the Developer 2020 Brighton interview. So yeah, I can't wait to see how they're gonna do that in Starfield. And I can switch to Skyrim now. So 2011 Skyrim. So yeah, I can tell you a bit about how big the hype was. Like it was really crazy. A lot of people saw the trailer, and if you remember the Skyrim gameplay trailer, I believe it was the most epic and best and coolest trailer they've ever done. Like there's not even but by Bethesda Game Studios, but in general, it's one of the most epic and coolest trailers ever. Like even people who never played games before saw that and were like, "Oh fuck, I need to get this game." And even though they may have been disappointed once they played it, but the trailer sold them on the game. That's how impactful the trailer was back then. And I remember I was 17 years old when Skyrim came out, and there was like in Vienna, in Austria. I'm from Vienna. I'm from Austria, by the way. If you didn't know yet, um, there was like a kind of small games convention going on called Game City, and usually they had nothing special there. They usually had like the yearly release of Call of Duty, Battlefield, the newest Assassin's Creed and stuff you can try. But I don't know, it was like in October, like 1 month before release, and BGS was there. Like the German Bethesda team was there, and they had Skyrim playable in October, beginning of October, 1 month before release. They had it there. But it was they had separate tents, like a 16 plus tent and an 18 plus tent and a kids or normal zone tent. And I was 17. I wasn't allowed to go into the 18 plus tent. And
Oh no.
Skyrim was in the 18 plus tent. So what I did was I searched through the dumpster nearby they had like wristbands to identify yourself. Like if you're 18, if you're 16, you had to show your ID and then you get a wristband. And someone threw away the wristband, and I put it out of the dumpster, glued it somehow back together, went to the line, and they actually let me in. They just saw that and let me in, and then I was like, yeah. Then I saw
Played Skyrim.
Skyrim. I played Skyrim 1 month before release for like 5 or 10 minutes, and I still remember what I did. Like You remember that first time you walk out of the cave from Helgen and then you go towards Riverwood? I
Yeah,
was like running there, and then there's like a small side path to the right which leads to another cave filled with bandits. And I went into that cave and killed some bandits, and then some guy told me that my time is over and someone else has to play now. So that's what I did before the game came out.
that's a mine, isn't it?
Yeah,
That is so cool. Oh man.
I really miss those times.
Yeah. It's hard to get your hands on a pre-release demo nowadays, probably because the industry's grown so much.
Yeah,
But
it's
what a
changed.
cool story that is.
It's changed a lot. Like back then you were able to play Skyrim before it came out. Nowadays it doesn't they don't do that. They hardly do that anymore. Only with multiplayer games.
Yeah, and with YouTubers.
Yeah.
Wow. So now I think after Skyrim came out and as we approach Fallout 4, there's like that 2 or 3 years of absolutely nothing from Bethesda. And I was actually a fan now. So I was on board. Yzra was too. So we all have memories from this. But E3 2015 was I don't it's not a year I'm ever gonna forget. I can actually remember exactly.
Most epic E3 ever, yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember the please stand by countdown, and I remember exactly where I was when that ended. I was in my ninth grade history class on an iPad mini when the countdown ended, and I like turned the volume up a little bit, but I was in class, so I didn't want it to be too loud. So I was like leaning my head down so I could hear it, but I still had to like turn my head so I could see it. And that was how I watched the Fallout 4 trailer
That's
in
awesome.
the
I
middle
like
of
that
class.
story.
Yeah. So yeah, that was amazing. How about you guys? How was the E3 2015 experience?
Yzra,
Um,
maybe you go first.
I remember it. I don't remember where I was, but I remember watching it live on Twitch. But
Mm.
like, I was playing ESO. It just came to consoles that year in 2015. So
Mm.
what I was doing, I was playing ESO, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. They're gonna announce Elder Scrolls 6, hopefully. And then they said, oh no, they're gonna do Fallout first. And I'm like, what the hell's Fallout? And this is like June, so this is right before the teaser. And then the hype, I got consumed by the hype. I completely forgot about Elder Scrolls for like a while. And I was like, oh my
Well,
god,
yeah.
I've missed this entire franchise. And at the time, you know, I was still a bit of an idiot. So basically, I thought Bethesda invented Fallout. So I thought, okay. I was working back. I was like putting Fallout 2 at 2002 in my head because what's the internet? I mean, I use it, but I don't research on the internet, never. So I was just, I mean, back then I was an Xbox fanboy, so that tells you how much of an idiot I was.
Oh no, you can't say that now. I find it so hilarious that in 2015 you're like, they might announce the next Elder Scrolls, and here we are 6 years later,
Yeah.
and
I can
they
I
hated
remember
it.
I remember shortly after Skyrim came out, like maybe 6 months later. I was quite active in the forums, in the BGS forums or Bethesda forums back then. And we were discussing already the setting and stuff like that for the Elder Scrolls 6 and when it would maybe come out. And we were like discussing, oh, well, they're gonna do like 1 year of DLC and then maybe it's gonna be 2014, 15 until the Elder Scrolls 6 releases. And
Oh,
back then I'd already heard, like, oh, we have to wait so long for the Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, it was quite funny, but everyone knew obviously that Fallout 4 was gonna come next, so it wasn't really like a surprise or something because they had Fallout 3 and it was successful and everyone loved it and it gave life back into Fallout and we had Fallout New Vegas shortly before, like 1 year before Skyrim. So it was obvious that Fallout 4 was gonna be the next one, but still you were thinking like the Elder Scrolls and stuff. But so we had the leak back then from Kotaku with Jason Schreier about Fallout 4's setting. And back then I didn't believe it. Like I didn't know who the fuck is Kotaku and who is Jason Schreier and stuff like that. But now we know that he's pretty reliable, I guess. So yeah, it's leaked like 1 year ago, 1 year before announcement. And I still remember when because we were talking about the teaser, the countdown. I remember like when the countdown happened, shortly before I was playing the hell out of Witcher 3. Like the Witcher 3 just came out and was really cool and fun game, and I wasn't really that much of a Witcher fan before, but I definitely was a fan of Witcher with the first entry. And as soon as I remember still that as soon as the teaser dropped, like the countdown, I stopped playing Witcher 3. I never touched it again. Like you can see it in my Steam library. The last time I played Witcher 3 was 2015, like June 2nd or something. That's the last day I played because the teaser for Fallout 4 happened and then everything was over. Like I just had the teaser site, the countdown site open all the time, and I couldn't wait to get it to 0. And then the trailer dropped, and yeah, it was quite cool stuff. And 2 weeks later, we had the most epic E3 ever, and the most epic Bethesda E3 ever, and it was also the first one. It was the first E3 for them. They never did one before, and they had like Doom, they had Dishonored 2, I think. I'm not sure anymore. But at least they had Doom, right? They showed the whole demo of Doom, and then they had like 30 minutes of Fallout 4, and it was so crazy. Like not only it looked so good, and it felt so good, but they had like, oh, and we have base building. Oh, and you can craft your own custom guns. Oh, by the way, you can craft your own custom armor. Oh, and that. Oh, and that. And it stopped. It went on and went on and went on. And Fallout Shelter, and it's didn't stop dropping bombs. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
was so crazy. And they didn't. 2018 was good, only because of Starfield announcement and the Elder Scrolls 6. But wouldn't these two things only saved them, I guess, because Fallout 76 reveal didn't feel as special anymore, and the rest of the conference was pretty boring, I guess. So I really can't wait to see what Todd is gonna give us next year for Starfield's big reveal.
It is interesting that we don't look on 2018 the same way we do 2015 because on
Yeah.
paper they're kind of the same thing. New Fallout games that had some really new intricate systems that Bethesda had never tried before. So just the way, like you said, the way 2018 just didn't feel as special as 2015. It is weird because 2015 went on and on and on with the new systems. 2018 did that too, but it's like none of them hit the same. You know,
Yeah.
the nukes were cool. That kind of got me excited. But it didn't get me excited as when in the demo in 2015 when the character goes into settlement mode and starts harvesting the entire sanctuary house. Like
Yeah.
that was like, whoa, you can freaking scrap the entire world. It wasn't the same like wow moment. I
Yeah.
would say the same with
Exactly.
Fallout Shelter and Elder Scrolls Blades.
They didn't do much new stuff with Fallout 76. I mean, obviously it was multiplayer and stuff, but all of the systems, the underlying systems, they were already in Fallout 4. So it was technically just Fallout 4 with multiplayer aspects and some new stuff. But yeah, and still, a lot of people wanted multiplayer, and a lot of people, like I did back then, we didn't want multiplayer. We wanted Starfield, right? We were talking about Starfield the whole time already back then. At least I was,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I was expecting Starfield to release the same way Fallout 4 releases, like start with announcement 2018, and then we get the game in 2018. But that didn't happen. So everyone was believing Starfield is gonna be the next game, and then Fallout 76 came out of nowhere. Like, why the fuck is there a teaser coming up with Fallout again? We just had a Fallout game 3 years ago. Why is there another game?
Well,
I want,
yeah, a lot of
yeah.
people thought that with that Fallout 76 teaser wasn't a new game. I remember there was the guy on Reddit that said he'd drink an entire bottle of hot sauce if it wasn't a Fallout 3 remaster, and he ended up drinking a bottle of hot sauce. So
And
yeah, that was a strange time.
I remember it's still the teaser. It looked totally like Fallout, right? The teaser page or whatever it was, the countdown. But I was still like, maybe it's still Starfield. Please let it be Starfield. I don't want
Yeah,
Fallout.
yeah. Still thinking somehow, well, maybe it's Starfield.
But
Yeah,
then
you
they
know,
actually dropped the teaser, so I wasn't complaining, I guess.
you see the pit boy. Oh my god, it's Starfield, guys.
It's a space Pip-Boy.
So when did you guys actually learn the first time about Starfield? Was it like at E3 2018 or shortly before with the fake leaks, or
No,
how
it
did your
was
journey begin?
for me, it was probably it. I don't think it was 2013, probably 2014. I think Mr. Matty Plays covered it on his YouTube channel. And from then on, until E3 2015, my morning routine every day, I didn't have social media, so I'd wake up and Google Star Wars Battlefront, Just Cause 3, and Starfield. Those were the three games I was excited for. And the first two have been awesome. They lived up to the hype. I loved them. I know there's some controversy around Battlefront 2015, but I loved it. So 2 for 3. Hoping Starfield can be a home run too. But yeah, that very early on, I was latched on to Starfield and hyped. How about you, Yzra?
For me, I might be pulling this out my ass, but in there was some YouTube. I was playing Skyrim on the 360, and I wanted to know about Elder Scrolls 6. So I think there was a trademark video. I swear there was a trademark video, and Starfield was in that. And I was like, oh cool, that could be anything. You know, I'm a 13-year-old. I just want to play Skyrim and then Oblivion. But it's hard. I remember the hype in 2016. Everyone looked at that theme park attraction they teased. And everyone was saying, oh, they're going to announce Starfield. That continued, but it wasn't until 2020 that I actually got on board, and I think that was because of Juicehead. You know, or it was Matty that was like doing like Starfield videos about like the build up, and I joined the subreddit, and my first post was, what do we call the lore community? And we all know how that went.
Yeah. How about
That's-
Lorefield?
Yeah. 2020, yeah, that was my time where my passion really started to get control of me in terms of Starfield. I obviously knew about Starfield way before already, like when the leak happened with the trademark. So I believe it was end of 2013. I don't remember anymore. So it was also partly my decision to buy into Star Citizen back then, because I was thinking of, hey, there's like this trademark with Starfield, Bethesda Game Studios, and if they really do like a game, like a sci-fi game, which is like maybe like Mass Effect or something, but with Skyrim gameplay or Fallout, that would be so fucking cool. And I was really thinking of all of the stuff already, what could happen in a game like that, you know, which is called Starfield. And science fiction is also my favorite genre, so adding that to my favorite Bethesda, to my favorite game developer, that would just be a dream come true. And I was already thinking of a lot of stuff back then, but obviously that got overshadowed by Fallout 4, because then it got revealed and stuff like that. So Starfield only really came back into the foreground when all the fake leaks started to appear, and everyone was like, "Oh, like you said, Yzra, like as 2016, it's gonna be shown. 2017, it's gonna be shown. 18, it's gonna be shown," and then it was actually there. Starfield was a thing, and that got me pretty excited. So yeah, but only in 2020 I started to join the Starfield Discord and really get invested into Starfield and researching stuff about the game, because I don't remember what it was. I think it was just E3, and because everyone again believed that Starfield is going to be shown 2020 and released 2020. So I shortly before before E3 happened, I joined the Discord, and then yeah, now I'm here discussing with you two about the game and other stuff. And a lot of stuff happened in the past 6 to 12 months.
Yeah. So now that we've made it to present day, in 2020, you started your contributions to Starfield, the Starfield Research Society, and you became quite adept and quite reputed for your ability to dig deep into both science fiction, real world science, and also like LinkedIn descriptions and profiles and stuff to really find info that is out there but no one else had found yet. So I was just wondering where that research ability comes from and why you're so motivated to do it and find all these things for us.
I really don't know how to answer that question properly. I'll just say what I think, I guess, because I can't even explain it to myself either, because I was just like, I got totally invested into Starfield, and I saw the trailer, and I started looking into every single detail of the trailer, and I made Reddit posts, and I found this and I found that, and oh cool. And obviously a lot of the stuff I found was already like found 2 years ago and 3 years ago or 1 year ago, but didn't get really that much. So not all of the things I figured out, maybe on LinkedIn or something else, was already new. But I also like found some new stuff, obviously, because the more I got invested into researching and finding new ways how to get information. What is my PC doing? Okay. The more stuff I found, and I was like, hey, I probably found this found this first. That got me really excited, and I wanted to see more. I wanted to see like what can I do, what can I find, and it didn't stop. Suddenly I sat there like 5 hours and was investigating into Steam accounts. I don't want to say anything. Art stations, Pinterest, LinkedIn's. I don't know what else. Like all sorts of like almost like a stalker or something. But you know how it is. If you get really invested in something, you want to find. And it's just the public info, you know. Available. I'm not like going in and faking stuff and shit. I'm just looking for public info you can find on the internet. And I mean, we know that was no longer the case a few months later, but yeah, that's how it all started. And yeah, the animation thing was a pretty big thing, which was pretty cool. And there's also some new stuff I can share with you today later, which
Really?
I didn't really post on Reddit or something else yet.
That would be
Which is
nice.
also pretty cool, and that probably maybe someone has found it before, but I'm not sure because didn't find anything about that so far being posted. So that's not some special, amazing, crazy stuff, but some stuff is really cool.
Okay, cool. I did want to talk about you mentioned and analyzing everything in the trailer, and I relate to that hard. I remember one time with the 2018 teaser. I was looking at the stars in the background, not,
Oh
the
yeah.
star that pops in that you can see that's real big behind the planet, but the background stars that you can barely see. So I was watching it in 4K, upscaling it, doing whatever I could to try and find a constellation that existed in the real world. Because I thought the CONSTE was a hint that you're supposed to look for a constellation. And after about an hour and a half, I realized that the stars in the background are a repeating pattern. There's no, they're not real stars at all.
Yeah, and because of all that research about Starfield and science stuff and how science could be in like I don't know how many 100 years, that's how I got into a lot of real world science as well. And I suddenly started watching videos about futuristic propulsion systems in space, and I started reading about fusion technology. I started reading about all sorts of technological advancements which are going to happen in the next 50 to 100 years, or maybe not. Like I got really invested into all this, and even in the physics stuff, like in quantum physics. And I already have some small background in quantum physics due to my studies I'm doing right now. But I wanted to know more about it, and maybe like not in a detailed way, but more in like in a general understanding of how things would work or maybe are working, like I don't know, string theory or gravitational waves and stuff like that, quantum entanglement. All of this suddenly started to interest me because of Starfield. I didn't really look at this before, like it wasn't really my hobby, but now it kind of space theme, I guess, is my hobby, and I watch all of the Falcon X and Falcon 9 launches from SpaceX. I watch all of the stuff. It's really amazing how a game can change the things you do every day.
That is
And
awesome.
it isn't even out yet. So
Yeah, exactly. So who knows what will happen once it is.
I
If
hope
you
it doesn't suck. That would be a lot of wasted time.
if you had to pick one, what discovery of yours, it can be about the game, about Creation Engine 2, which one are you the most proud of making?
Oh, that's a hard question. Let me think. I think probably was not really just discovery, but being there daily on Reddit and posting my discoveries, and people like really like not really cheering me on, but like being supportive, real supportive. That was like my most favorite memories, I guess. for example, when I made this huge post about my theories about what this station might be like with the whole what was it back then? I believe terraforming. When I said like, oh, I had like this eureka moment that it might be about terraforming, which I no longer believe it is. By the way, there's a new theory, like the 15th theory already. But
Yeah.
that was one of my most favorite memories, and all of the discoveries, obviously as well. But yeah, me theorizing about the game is still my most favorite thing I like to do.
Your 52-page trailer breakdown has to be up there, right?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, exactly. Then one of my most favorite and memorable memories, whatever you say, was actually E3 on its own, E3 2021, because I don't want to say that I was like the reason they did that with the trailer. You know what I mean? But I was like probably I had some influence into the decision of the famous letter in Starfield trailer,
Yes.
because back then we had lots of discussions about there's like a super secret unleaked image about Starfield with a letter being on it, and I was like really interested how the fuck do they have letters in the game. And then I also read some old leak about letters, which you may know about climbable letters. And then I made this huge post with creation engine updates, which also got in the news, by the way, and it was really crazy back then. So everyone was like hyped for letters suddenly. I don't know why. So letters became a meme, and it was then the Bethesda Discord opened, and everyone was spamming letters, including me. And even the developers of the game were making fun of letters and posting letter memes and stuff like that. So that kind of got how to say it, like the trailer got probably influenced by that, because literally the first shot you see in the trailer is a ladder being climbed by a dude. So that was probably my most favorite memory of all. Seeing like, and I even have it on stream. Like I was streaming myself with a friend on Twitch, watching E3 live, and I was like so in joy when I saw that ladder happening.
You were the first person I thought of when I saw that. My jaw just dropped. I was like, they actually did it.
Yeah.
It is also really funny that it's a Bethesda space game, and everybody kind of talks about spaceships a little bit, but then someone suggests that they might have ladders, and they're like, how the hell are they going to do ladders?
Yeah.
Forget the spaceships. It's the ladders that were.
That was pretty funny. Yeah. I mean, the ladder meme kind of died out right now. Maybe it's gonna get revived again, but it was pretty funny back then.
I still see you reacting to all of BGS's tweets with a ladder on their official
Yeah,
Discord.
I still do. I'll never stop.
Keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, it's kind of like the guy who's commenting on the Elder Scrolls 6 trailer every day. He's still doing that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
So you may not have been able to pick one single favorite, but I do have one favorite discovery of yours of my own. It's my favorite. Your discovery.
I have
Not
one
vice versa.
favorite about yours as well.
Really?
You did a really big one, actually.
Okay. I'll tell you mine, and then you
Yeah.
tell me yours.
Yeah.
When you found out, you made the connection that the constellation patch shows Alpha Centauri. That blew my mind because I had spent well over a week looking at that patch and comparing it to every single NASA mission patch. There are about 130 of them.
Wow.
And so I knew that patch like the back of my hand. And I had also researched Alpha Centauri and just never made the connection that those three circles resemble the three stars in Alpha Centauri, like perfectly. So for you to draw that connection, I was like, oh my, like I spent so much time around both those topics and just never put two and two together. So that light bulb moment for you was amazing to see.
Which is kind of funny because my most favorite discovery by yours was like figuring out that Starfield, or at least parts of the game, might be set in Alpha Centauri, because based on the Elon Musk interview back then. and not only the interview, but you like compared the stars on the patch and made a comparison with like I don't remember how exactly you did it. You you had like a solar system where you see from Alpha Centauri you see all the planets, and you compared it. So like that could be based on the number of stars that could be resembled by planets or something, and that would be maybe Alpha Centauri. And I was like Proxima Centauri, Alpha Centauri. Yeah, you're probably right. And so I also used that, by the way. This way of explaining myself that this could be Alpha Centauri on the patch with the suns. And only when I really began reading about Alpha Centauri, that there's 3 suns and they have a distinctive light pattern, like red dwarf, and medium-sized sun with like an orange hue, and also the big one with yellow. Then I looked at the patch and it was obvious. Suddenly it just came all over me.
That's amazing. Yeah. That makes me really happy because the funny thing about that post of mine that you're referring to is that I had basically looked at real world constellations and determined that because there was one constellation for us that matched up with the star pattern on the patch, then this must be in Alpha Centauri because Alpha Centauri, if I remember correctly, is one of the stars in that constellation, and it
Yep.
kind of matched up like these stars kind of make a cross, and if you were looking at that constellation from Alpha Centauri, then it would make roughly that shape. But what
Yeah,
I failed to
exactly.
consider is that these stars are all in 3D space, so it's going to look completely different from Alpha Centauri. So I had in a horrible method, completely wrong formula, but I got the right answer. So that's all that matters.
All that matters is the answer.
Yeah.
If it's correct. That's the same for exams and stuff. So, but actually, I've read some theory, or maybe some, I don't know if it's a theory or if it's a fact, but space is actually kind of more 2D than 3D than we would like to believe.
Oh,
Like
well,
space, I've read something that space is actually, in a broader term, 2D, but it's obviously 3D, but space is expanding all the time from the Big Bang, so it's kind of a 2D surface on the overlaying thing. So it's really weird. Like science gets really weird, and even theoretical science gets pretty weird. So yeah, you weren't that wrong with that guess.
is it like a pinwheel galaxy where there is like height to it, but it's just more
Yeah,
spread out?
something like that. But there's a lot of crazy theories revolving around space and stuff.
One of the things you brought up, you actually asked me to do this, and I've just been so busy that I haven't been able to yet. In the 2021 trailer, there's that little drawing on the wall of it looks like an alien structure, and it's like research notes and sketches of what this thing might be. And one of the things I did was figure out the height of the buildings in New Atlantis, and then using,
Yeah,
estimates on
that's how I
how
got the
tall,
idea. Yeah.
yeah, on how tall a window was, and then I figured out the building, so on, so on. You asked me to do the same thing with the alien structure, and I'm hoping to, but that thing seems central to the story, so that could actually serve a lot more use from a lore perspective for finding the
Yeah.
size of that than New Atlantis. So I'm excited to do that and make a good post on it. But yeah, I
Yeah, can't
appreciate
wait
you
for that.
sending that my way.
No worries. So, Yzra, how did you feel when you saw the trailer at E3 2021? Were you like really excited, or were you like, okay, it's showing us only a little and I want to see more? Did the behind the scenes videos give you actually more excitement than the actual trailer or teaser?
I think when it came to it, I was one of the people that saw the trailer 30 minutes early, so I was kind of spoiled. I didn't watch it properly, and once the trailer actually played at E3, I wasn't paying attention to the rest of the live stream, so when I started paying attention, Stock 2 gameplay was over. So it was like 15 minutes later.
That's pretty funny. I must have seen the trailer like a million times already. Like I still watch it almost daily. Just not because I want to watch it, but I always think of like, oh, there's this scene in the trailer. Maybe I can find something else in that scene and stuff like that. And I did find some stuff which no one knows about yet. And you might
Interesting.
know about them today.
This is an uncomfortable question, but I think it's an important one to ask. This was raised by a family member of mine. What are we going to do if Starfield sucks?
Play Skyrim, I guess. No, I mean, even like Fallout 76 was quite underwhelming to say the least for the launch, at least. So even when Fallout 76 happened and like all of the people started raging about it and complaining about it, I had my fun with it. And if it's the same for Starfield, where it's like quite underwhelming, and I feel like I'm still gonna have my fun with it for some time. If it's like a complete disaster, I'm still gonna have some time with it where I can enjoy it, and maybe it's not gonna be something really huge and truly special like Skyrim was, or Fallout 3, or Oblivion, or Morrowind. Let's say that's compared to Fallout 4. Like Fallout 4, for some it is the most most liked Bethesda game of all time, or most liked Fallout game. But for me, Fallout 4 was like the beginning was special, and I really loved it and enjoyed it. But as soon as I completed the main story, it didn't really catch me anymore, and I only like completed Far Harbor, I remember, but I didn't even finish all the side story stuff yet, and I didn't even finish all the other DLC. So if it's something like that, I'm still gonna be fine, I guess. But I don't think it's gonna be like that. I think it's gonna be, in terms of epicness, it's gonna be like Skyrim at least.
Yeah,
I just don't see any other way anymore with the way they're talking about this game.
that's
I
the
mean,
thing.
you still have to be weary about like don't get hyped and stuff like that. But I'm quite confident based on the stuff we know and based on the research I've done.
Yeah, that's the way they talk about this game, and I've talked about this in another episode. I've never seen this with any other game from any developer, where the game is years away and they're still talking about, like, they get all giddy and they're smiling when they talk about this game that's, you know, still very early in development. It's crazy. And to me, that says that there is a very, very small chance that it's going to be Garbo
Yeah,
when there's that much passion behind it.
exactly.
How about you, Yzra? What will you do if Starfield turns out, 2 out of 10?
I will, through Lorefield, I
Mhm.
will make the lore sound very interesting and make the bias of the content that Starfield is the greatest game ever made. Of course, I'm joking, but
Oh, that's a good answer.
we're still gonna hype up the lore.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I can't wait to see all the explanation for how are they going to do warp drive tech, I guess, because that's what we're basically assuming since the trailer, that they're using some sort of warp tech, which is kind of based on gravitational waves, which is also really crazy. Like, for now, I've seen so many scientific articles and stuff like that, and I can't fucking understand how that's gonna work for a spaceship. How do they have like this navigation table with all the gravitational waves you can see, and you can change like the layers of the waves and stuff like that. But how does it like function as a real scientific background, that okay, this is how they're using their technology to travel through space? Like, it doesn't make sense for me for now. Hopefully we'll get some answers soon before release, but we will probably only get that answer when we're playing that game.
I can almost guarantee there's going to be some fictional BS in there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff which doesn't make any sense, even shown in the trailer. Like, when you see on the side of the table, of the navigation table, there's like a whole bunch of stuff written on it with Mach Plankton constant, proton constant, and some sort of like all sorts of constants, which really don't make any sense. They're just like different constants, but thrown together, they make no sense at all. I've actually talked about this with an actual physicist, or do you call them physicists in English? Like a
Yes.
guy who does all, yeah, okay. So, and he said this doesn't make, for space travel, it doesn't make any sense. So there's probably some BS, quote unquote, in the game, but who knows? We'll see how sciencey it's gonna get in terms of lore.
I too am guilty of outsourcing some of my Starfield research. I've talked to professors at my university and emailed some, at, other places in the United States. The ones that aren't at the school I go to never respond. You don't waste their time. But I've had a couple good conversations with math and physics professors at my school.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So on this topic of hard sci-fi and stuff, I know Oda, you might have some stuff you want to potentially share. I'd just like to kind of throw in here this topic that I just learned about yesterday, and this is really interesting. Could have some implications for Starfield. This topic of they're called Lagrange points. So I'd never heard of this. They are
Wait,
very
how you call them? Because I always say Lagrange, so it's Lagrange, all right? So
Lagrange. Yeah,
Lagrange, okay.
I could be wrong, but
No,
that was
it's probably right because I'm not a native speaker, so I always say it wrong.
oh, okay. Um, so NASA has their own page on their website about what these things are. They're used pretty frequently in science fiction books. Sometimes they have a different name, but the principle is commonly used. Basically, every coupling of two um, bodies in space, usually a sun, a star, and a planet, have 5 points where you don't need any propulsion or stabilizing force to stay where you are. So basically, the first point is going to be in between the planet and the star on the kind of on the sun's side. If you draw a straight line between the sun and the planet, it's going to be on that line. The second Lagrange point is the same line out of the planet, so you can never see the sun from there. L2, that's how you refer to the points. L1, L2, so on through 5. L2 is where the James Webb Telescope is going to be.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
we talked about that. L3 is also on this vector of in line with the sun and the planet, but on the opposite side of the sun. The cool thing about L3, and I think this could possibly be in Starfield, but that's pure speculation. L3 is an ideal place for an alien megastructure that needs to stay hidden because it is always going to be opposite the planet of the star. So the sun will always obstruct. Yeah, Earth's L3 is always obstructed by the sun. We can never know what's over there. So an alien megastructure would be, it could be there. We have no way of knowing. And then,
That's cool.
yeah, really cool. And then L4 and L5 are, this is going to be hard to explain without visuals. But if you were to make an equilateral triangle and have the sun and earth as two of the vertices, where the other, you can make two equilateral triangles using those points, right? One that goes like down and one that goes up, Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Each of those other two vertices are L4 and L5. In real life, Jupiter's L4 and L5 has a huge cluster of asteroids that are trapped by the gravitational equilibrium. So there's this principle that is proven in practice with all these asteroids. Oh, okay. Last thing about Lagrange points is that in Alpha Centauri, these Lagrange points are a lot less stable and they might not even exist because binary and tertiary or trinary star systems don't really support Lagrange points. So I might have just wasted a lot of time and breath, but or not. If Starfield's multiple star systems, then this could still be, very prevalent. But I just thought it was really cool.
I still think that in a science way, hard science way, that single star systems are still like the common thing, and binary, and like even I think they only discovered this star system with 3 stars, with 3 actual stars, and not just like dwarf stars like Proxima Centauri, only today or yesterday. So yeah, they're more rare than commonly like our solar system with like 1 star. They're like the most common ones. So Lagrange points are 100% going to be a thing in Starfield, in the lore at least. I mean, because if you want to do a space game and it has some sort of science lore implications, you're gonna need Lagrange points or Lagrange points at some point, because that's how a lot of the tech works actually. And also, if you go in a game like Star Citizen, there's also all these Lagrange points around the planets you can use as fast travel, sort of. So yeah, I think if they're going to be, and you know how they roll, like they always care about the lore and stuff. So Lagrange points are, I think it would be quite shocking and surprising if if they at least get talked about in the game, in lore or something. I think they're gonna be like, you will see some sort of Lagrange points being used in Starfield, is my guess now.
Here we have it. Confirmed by Oda. Lagrange points will be in Starfield.
We'll see. At least in the lore, I guess. Would be shocking not to see them, because
Yeah,
they're
I
that
agree.
important for space travel and stuff. But yeah, if small side tour because of James Webb Telescope, I can't wait. Really can't wait for that day. I hope, really, I hope that it's going to happen this year, that we can see the launch of James Webb and the deployment. It's gonna be some real crazy stuff happening.
I hope they focus it on Alpha Centauri for its first image, and then I'll zoom in on New Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not the way this telescope is working. It's not like Hubble. It's working on infrared. So they're gonna use it for finding actual life in the universe, I
Oh,
guess,
neat.
and other stuff. It's 100 times more powerful than Hubble, but it's using a different kind of technique for imaging.
I'm excited for that. That's
Yeah.
so long in the making.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on anything from either of you?
I'm really can't wait to see how they're gonna handle the story about what the lore about what happened in between the 24th century, I think Starfield is set now, 2320 or something. So I really can't wait to see what's their definition going, or their lore aspect is going to be for what happened between now, real time now, 2021, and 2300 something. That is what I want to see, because they probably put a lot of thought in that and talked to Elon Musk and SpaceX scientists and other people at NASA. They probably talked to many people to get a rough idea of how things could change in the next 300 years. And this is what I'm really interested about, because this could have actual meaning and implications for our real world, where it might actually be a thing at some point for us. We'll see.
Yeah,
You can never know how technology evolves and how fast it evolves,
absolutely. Yeah.
or how slow. It depends on different variables. So
I
yeah. Hmm?
on that timeline between now and when the game takes place, I don't have it handy, but we do know when Constellation was founded. I
Do
can't
we?
remember. Yeah, I can't remember what year. I believe it was in the trailer when you see the it was like a watch case or something, or just a watch sitting
Ah,
on a
yeah,
shelf.
2186 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like that. So we have a
yeah.
little bit of that. So I'm excited
True,
to see what else there is.
true. Hey,
I
Laura.
actually remember.
Hmm?
I remember
You remember?
the date. It is established 2188.
88. Wow.
88. Wow. Yeah.
But 2188, it's actually not that far. It's actually quite long ago if you think of it. It's like kind of in the middle, I guess.
Yeah.
All I
Medical
know,
development, I bet it'll live that long.
is I'll be dead when that happens.
Who knows? Whatever happens, happens. You know, maybe that medical technology will. I think we will live longer than we expect right now. That's my guess on it. I think we
I
might
agree.
go over 100 years
Yeah.
based on the technology that is currently in development, the medical field, and
And
also.
just in the
Hmm?
last century, the human life expectancy has gone up like 30 years or something crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So, you guys want to know about some discoveries I made in the past weeks and days?
I think that would be a wonderful thing to have on this show.
How about we start with some smaller stuff, actually from the trailer itself?
Sure,
So,
let's do it.
remember that I've been talking about like basically spamming it sometimes into the Discord and other places with kind of like a catchphrase: "Plan of dreams with stars," and it has a meaning. I don't know the meaning, so but I can tell you where you can find it. So in the trailer, and the E3 trailer 2021, you can see this guy, in his spacesuit, the famous spacesuit we know from the leaks as well. He just goes into the cockpit and sits down in the pilot chair. And if you take close attention, and I like to take close attention on many details, and there is like on the back side of his helmet, there's like this small kind of like, I don't know if it's a sticker or if it's just written imprinted on the helmet. There's like a black and white text, and it in the black text it's saying "Plan of dreams with stars." Maybe it's some sort of catchphrase or some slogan for a constellation, because it's also a constellation suit. So maybe it's their like their slogan of this faction, "Plan of dreams with stars," whatever that means.
I was hoping it would be generic security or guard dialogue. That is really
Yeah.
cool.
You can actually see that yourself. I can't show it obviously right now, but just check out in the trailer. I don't know, when they do this sitting in the chair, and he moves the chair towards the consoles, towards to the displays and stuff. You see it on the back written like you need. I've figured out most of that stuff because I downloaded the uncompressed 4K version of the trailer from Gamerside, and with all the YouTube compression gone, you can see and yeah, you can see basically a lot more details than before than if you do it on YouTube or if you download it straight from YouTube. So, and it's also another discovery from the trailer. Which is actually a company name, or at least I think it's a company name, or maybe it might even be the planet's name the trailer is based on, or moon or whatever. It's the famous Argos, which I also used to spam a lot. There is actually, when you zoom in, right when in the scene where Vasco is, there's like a close-up shot of Vasco going right to left towards the ship, and he's walking across the camera, like through the camera, and the camera is like kind of zoomed in. And when you zoom in on the outside hull of that space station, that's station or whatever it is, there's like a logo on it. You can see a small, if you like enhance it really, really hardcore, you can see a small logo on it. I will post it on Reddit probably so people can see it. And if you take a close look, it's saying Argos on it, and there's also like a logo how with the first like initials, like there's an A and an E, and I was like thinking maybe this is like the new logo for Axiom Energy, and it's saying like Axiom Energy Argos, but I don't know what the Argos stands for, and the Axiom Energy is just me theorizing what the AE might be for.
Super cool.
Yeah. So. And some other things I've found quite recently actually is based from some developers of BGS regarding Starfield, or more to be more precise, regarding Creation Engine 2. I can now give you a rough timeline when engine rework started for Creation Engine 2. And that was as early as 2016. Because I have some proof now that they started already changing Creation Engine shortly after Fallout 76, Fallout 4. I mean, they always change stuff, but as Todd said in like 2017, they are doing new stuff for the next game, and Fallout 76 is going to use the old stuff or some of the old stuff. So in 2016, concept art designer and 3D artist of BGS, I don't want to say the name, I'm going to post it maybe on Reddit, at least the information. He was working on He posted this, by the way, on his own portfolio. Like he has his own website, and his portfolio also includes Starfield. And he's written there that, I'm just gonna quote it, I guess. I've been working on Starfield since 2016 and will share my contributions after it's finished. In the teaser trailer below, I designed the spacesuit Constellation logo and worked on our customizable face system. So he was working on the customizable face system in 2016, or at least since 2016. And when you go on this LinkedIn page, he's saying that he has experience in building asset pipelines for customizable character systems at the highest fidelity, including 3D scanned face rigs. And we know from the anniversary video of the Elder Scrolls that they are using photogrammetry now, which is also he's also like skills thing photogrammetry and using reality capture for scanning assets and people, which we saw in the trailer, like in the anniversary trailer, and that basically means they're using 3D scanned faces or face rigs for Starfield. Probably not just for their NPC character customization, but for the character editor as well. Editor.
Yeah, that is absolutely new. We knew about face scans for Test 6, and we knew about photogrammetry in Starfield, but I don't think we knew about face scans in Starfield. So
I gave you links in the and see it later. We can watch it later.
and
Yeah.
remind me this person's like job title.
He's a lead character artist at Bethesda Game Studios right now.
Okay, makes sense.
Which is pretty cool. And
Yeah.
wait, I think I have more. I have more. I'm not done yet. So
yeah, that is not insignificant.
there's maybe it's not as significant as 3D scanned faces, but there's an ex BGS employee who who was working at least since October 2019 at Bethesda Game Studios. No, sorry, I'm mixing up some stuff. He started working at BGS in 2010 and stopped working there in October 2019 to open up his own studio. But it's not really a game studio, but what they're doing is mainly outsource work for other companies, and they're doing animations and they're doing 3D stuff. I don't know, where is it? They're doing all sorts of stuff: concept art, digital sculpture, texturing, 3D animation and motion capture, technical art, and Plant 3 animation logic. And he started his own company called Savage Foundry. And this company is now helping out BGS in the development of Starfield as a remote embedded contractor. And they have, like, I believe, a team of like 20 to 30 people. And he was working at Bethesda Game Studios as a senior animator all those times. So he was like doing a lot of animations and stuff for Fallout 4, for Fallout 76, for Skyrim. And he was also the senior animator of Starfield until October 2019. So that could lead to him doing some outsource work with animations on Starfield now, with like his new company, which he founded 2 years ago. You can see that all. I can post it again. Here's his company site. Yeah.
Did you look through the other employees at all? Did you see what they did? Like their
They
backgrounds?
don't have a LinkedIn profile, or at least I can't find any of the other developers. Like it's just saying on some other site, and it's like on some. I did some background check on the company, and it's saying like you can find a lot, but it's saying like this up to like 20 to 30 people working there, but I can't find any other source for that, so it might be even less or maybe more. Who knows? But that's what the internet gave me. 20 to 30 people working there. Could be true, could be not true. On LinkedIn, it's just him.
If two conditions were met, those being the place I'm currently at being a single party consent state and Savage Foundry having a phone number on its site, I would do a live call. But neither of those conditions seem to be met. So there won't be a live telephone call, but that is a really cool find. And there's no list on their website of clients or anything like that. And again, this is savagefoundry.com.
Yeah.
They provide USA-based 3D art and animation for video game simulation and virtual reality platform.
Yeah. Another clue maybe for Starfield VR confirmed. Who knows?
Yeah. While I was looking through your old posts on Reddit for podcast research, I found that you made the Starfield VR subreddit.
Yeah. Believe, man. Believe. I mean, it has to happen at some point. Maybe not at launch, obviously, but
Yeah.
2 years down the line.
Yeah, they seem committed to VR, so
Yeah, I think so too. And
that is
I think,
awesome.
yeah, those were my most recent findings, which I didn't reveal yet because, as I said, I wanted to keep it secret until I can reveal it, like right now in the
Yeah.
Lorefield podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is great. They specialize in digital sculpture, texturing, concept art, 3D animation and mocap, technical art. What's the difference between technical art and concept art?
No clue, really. I'm the wrong person to ask that. I mean, maybe Yzra knows. I don't know. Do you know any knowledge behind that?
Absolutely nothing. I mean, I'm arguably the dumbest person in this call. Like, you two make me look like, I don't want to say idiot because that's putting myself too far down the bin, but I'm not that smart. I'm good at other stuff.
You're good with modding.
Very good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, can't wait to try that one. So
Um,
it always depends on where you have where you put all your energy in, I guess. I put all my energy in this. I should use my energy for other stuff more, but I'll try to mix it up here and then.
I Googled technical art, and this is weird. Technical art is an interdisciplinary field of study at the cross section of science and humanities.
Interesting.
That's
Well, it doesn't make me any more knowledgeable than before, huh? But
well,
yeah.
it has to do with science. I see
But
science. I think Starfield.
I mean, based on all the stuff they're saying, they're doing quite a lot of stuff, so we can't really tell what they're doing. I'm just saying they're probably doing animation stuff for Starfield based on his job before at Bethesda, and that he also was senior animator for Starfield. So they're probably doing some animation outsourcing with them. Who knows? We will find out maybe sometimes in the credits once we finish Starfield.
And
So
really, the timing of it, it seems to make more sense that this would be for Test 6, the outsourcing.
could be as well, yeah.
But
We'll
yeah, you're
find
right.
out.
We'll see. Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. And I've planned like some sort of roadmap for Creation Engine 2 happening. I'm gonna make like a huge Creation Engine 2 update post on Reddit sometime in the near future. I don't know yet when I have time, I guess. Well, just try to make like a timeline between when engine rework started and when it probably ended. And I try to fit everything in, like what happened in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's a lot more stuff actually than people know. I think there's actually a lot of stuff about Creation Engine 2 out there, and I'll try to like make it one compact Reddit post where you can read all of the known stuff.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. That's one thing that I'm not very savvy on is the technical side and the creation engine stuff. That's definitely more Yzra's area of expertise. But I will be waiting for that. I'm excited. So if you guys don't have anything else to add, I think I'm ready to go on to our last segment of the show. Are you
Yeah,
guys ready? Alrighty.
I'm fine.
So the way we like to close every show, if you've been listening, you're probably aware, is that we recommend one work of science fiction or one work of fiction. It doesn't have to be science fiction. Anything that will scratch the Starfield itch, gets you excited for the game, kind of gets you in the mood to pass the time. So, Oda, why don't you go first as our special guest this month?
I have a good one. I've recently seen a movie. Just put the link into the Discord. I've recently seen a movie which is really, really awesome, and I was like, the whole time when I was watching that movies, man, it feels like I'm playing some sort of quest in Starfield. I'm watching some sort of quest being played in Starfield, because all of the movie is called Prospect, by the way, which came out 2018, which is about a guy and his wait, where is it? Why is it playing now? Why can I hear it? Something is okay, never mind. Sorry. um which is about a guy and his daughter, and he is like a miner in the future on some sort of distant planet, and on this planet there's like a alien thing. There, everyone is mining like gold. It's like a second gold rush, only on a different planet, and they're all mining this stuff. But there's also like tons of pirates and stuff who want to steal that shit, and mercenaries, and stuff happens, and there's like a story folding out then on this planet and how to escape the planet, and it's pretty cool. Don't want to spoil anything. So it's also with the main actor is the one from Mandalorian. I don't remember his name right now. Like the guy who's playing the Mando in Mandalorian. What's he called?
Pedro Pascal, I think.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal, exactly. He's like the main actor in that movie. And it came out in 2018 when the Starfield teaser, the announcement trailer dropped. So, and it's a movie I think not many people have seen. And when you watch it, you will feel like, hey, I'm watching some Starfield promotional movie or something. That's how it feels, in my opinion. It's pretty good. And also all the armor, the suits they're wearing, it reminds me really of the art style they have shown in the concept art from the armor.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer silently right now, and I absolutely agree that the spacesuits do look like they could be from the Starfield universe. This is a
Yeah.
great pick. This is awesome.
That would be my thing to recommend. There's lots of things to recommend, but it's one of the most recent ones.
Cool. Prospect with Pedro Pascal. Good pick. Yzra, what's your pick for this month?
I'm going to say The Martian,
Ooh, good one.
and I haven't watched it in a while, but it's a really good film. They did their research for it, and it's about a guy who gets left behind on Mars and he has to survive. I want to say there's something about recycling waste, but I can't remember that bit. But it's about bringing him home because they don't realize that. I think they don't realize they've left him, which I don't know how you could forget a crew member, or I can't remember. But it's a really good film. So it's like that film Gravity, where they consulted NASA and stuff. As far as I know.
Yeah, it's quite science. It gets in most cases the movie gets the science correct. The only thing in The Martian which isn't kind of true, but they had to do something in order to like kind of let the plot happen, was the storm in the beginning of the movie with the sandstorm, I guess, or the Martian storm, because Mars has a pretty thin atmosphere in real life and quite thinner than on Earth. And even if there's like a storm happening with like 200 miles per hour winds, you can't really they don't have really that much of an impact because the atmosphere is just that thin that nothing happens. So the scene you see in the beginning where the storm comes in and all the shit gets blown over, that wouldn't really happen in real life. That's the only thing that wasn't scientifically accurate about this movie. But yeah, as I said, they had to get the plot happening somehow.
Was the person that got stuck on Mars, did their name happen to be Kevin McAllister?
I understand it.
Home Alone, the kid that
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
left home.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of feel-good movie. I like to watch it here and then as well because usually it's in most cases sci-fi movies are more like dramatic and someone dies and then something epic happens, and The Martian is just the opposite of it. I mean, obviously there's some drama in the beginning. He gets left behind on Mars and stuff, but the rest of the movie is like he's just figuring out stuff on his own with his based on his science background, and that's pretty cool. That's a one of a kind movie. So yeah, it's like one of the movies like Interstellar. I watch it always, like every year, at least once or twice.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of the movies you suggested, but I've heard nothing but good things about The Martian. And admittedly, this is the first time I've heard about Prospect, but I definitely want to watch both. So my pick, I really should have gone first probably because both your picks are way better than mine. But it's gonna sound dumb at first, but let me explain. My pick for this month is Crackdown 3.
Crackdown.
Yes, Crackdown 3, critically very inferior to Crackdown 1 and 2. But I think the main reason I picked it was because the city you play in looks a lot like New Atlantis. And it's a pretty fun game. You can probably get 25 or 30 hours of it. A lot of it is a bit like Saints Row, where you're running around getting collectibles. That's what most of your time will probably be spent doing because that's how you level up. Just tonally, some of the tech level seems it's a little bit more far-fetched and softer than Starfield. You know, about 300 or 400 years seems about right for Crackdown. I don't know what canonically what when it actually takes place, but yeah, I just think it is a good game. Like we said, to scratch that Starfield itch. So it's
Mhm.
on Xbox Game Pass, which is another big reason I picked it. So yeah, if you haven't played it, it's worth the time.
Imagine fully destructible cities in Starfield. Yeah.
That
No,
actually ends up
it's a
getting
it's a
cut.
good pick. I've never played any of the Crackdown games before, but maybe should I decide to get Game Pass in the future, I might try it out.
Yeah, the destructible city actually ended up getting cut. It was sort of. They kept it for the multiplayer modes, but those are on like smaller kind of COD style,
I
so you
see,
can't. Yeah,
but still cool.
yeah, definitely.
It's
So
it's really impressive because the multiplayer is all cloud based, so I get my words out. All the destruction is cloud based, which is really cool. And they were using new tech for it, I think. And basically every time a building is destroyed, I'm pretty sure that's server side. Although I could be pulling that out my ass.
no,
No,
you're
no,
absolutely right.
the game has been in quite a development hell throughout Xbox One's lifespan, I guess, because Crackdown 3 was announced like 1 year after 2013's release of Xbox One. They were teasing it already at the launch of Xbox One, but they weren't really revealing it. Only a year later with Scalebound, which got canned, as we all know, maybe. So Crackdown 3 was in development for quite some time. It switched developer, it switched scope, it switched so many stuff. So when it came out, it wasn't the thing that was advertised in the beginning because it just changed so much over time. And there would have been like a completely fully destructible environment in the multiplayer with the cloud tech. And that's probably still in as I believe, but it got scaled down like quite a lot, unfortunately. But it's still a unique game out there. Not many people have probably played it. I didn't play it, so
Yeah, it's a fun open world to just kind of dick around in.
yeah.
It's got Terry Crews in too, so you
Yeah,
Yeah,
should
that makes it
definitely
worthwhile
play it
play all
for.
along.
Yeah, you
I've
should.
watched all the commercials.
I loved Terry Crews as marketer. You could tell he was just having fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys, it's already over 1 a.m. here in Austria.
yeah. Thank you for staying up to do this to both of you,
No
allowing
worries.
allowing the American to record the show at a comfortable time. Really appreciate it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the end of the Lorefield podcast episode 4. Thank you so much, Oda, for coming on the show. You were an awesome first guest.
No problem. It was quite exciting. Like I really was looking forward to this, and maybe we can do this in the future. I would be up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe for an E3 2022 breakdown.
Ooh, that
That'll
would.
be
Ooh, I don't think
21.
I don't think 1 hour is gonna cut it for that though.
No, 21 was 3 hours, so 22 will probably be like 12.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I can't wait.
Well, thanks again, and have a good evening. And thank you everyone for listening. This was great.
Sure. Wish you a good day and We'll see each other soon.
Bye all.
Land of dreams with stars, as Constellation would say. Probably.